is long, with many a winding turn that leads us to who knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong enough to carry him. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. So on we go, his welfare is my concern. No burden is he to me, we'll get there. For I know he would not encumber me. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. If I'm laid in at all, I'm laid in with sadness that everyone's heart isn't filled with gladness of love for one another. It's a long, long road from which there is no return. While we're on our way there, we're not shared. And the load doesn't weigh me down at all. He's my brother. Brother, he ain't heavy, he's my brother.
The opening words this morning are from the poem When Giving is All We Have by Alberto Rios. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn, and the pages too. But we read this book anyway, over and over. Giving is, first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue, and I gave you yellow. Together, we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope and love arise. Let
Good morning, and welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Linda Mowers, and I serve as worship chair for this growing, journeying congregation. As you may note in your order of service, Alyssa Halliday was scheduled to be here in the pulpit this morning serving as worship associate, and she's worked with Reverend Amy to put this service together. Unfortunately, Alyssa has come down with a pretty bad cold. It's not COVID, she's just got a bad cold and is unable to be with us today. So I'm stepping into the pulpit for her this morning, and we wish her a speedy recovery. We welcome all of you to our service, including those of you who are searching for a spiritual home. Many of us came here for the first time seeking something larger than ourselves to which we could belong, a place where we can find roots to hold us close and wings to set us free, a place to create meaning together. We do that well, though not perfectly. Here at BBUC, we strive not for perfection, but for authenticity and connection. Whether it's your first time in worship with us or one of hundreds of services, we hope that you'll find here questions that stretch you, people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving boldly, living justly, and welcoming radically. We are grateful that you've chosen to be here with us today. If you're a new visitor, we warmly welcome you to our beloved church. If you'd like to learn more about our congregation or Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to check out all the literature on the welcome table near the door. And there's also a great website at uua.org and our own website at bbuc.org. We continue to adjust our worship services to accommodate the safety and well-being of everyone while living through this pandemic. Although we've suspended indoor food and drink for the time being, we invite you to stay for fellowship time after the service, where light food and beverages, including coffee, are available out on the front porch and can be enjoyed with fellowship at any of our outdoor spaces. Now at this time, I'd like to invite Chuck Smithers, our board vice president, up to the pulpit for a brief testimonial in support of our March stewardship campaign.
Thank you, Linda. Well, good morning, UU family. It's good to see everybody. This is a little bit like, I can imagine what Jimmy Kimmel feels like when he's looking out at his audience, so you can see half the faces, but it's a good thing. I've been asked to just take a couple of minutes to share some of my thoughts on stewardship with you. You probably have seen over the last week some notices out about our stewardship campaign for this year. When Julie and I joined this congregation a couple of years ago, we both came from a long church tradition, but we were searching for an experience that had some real meaning at this time in our lives. We were excited to find that and a new home here at BBUC. I found myself quickly drawn to the ministries, missions promoted and supported by the church, and I felt drawn to the commitment to support our church. I realized support could mean a lot of things, but I think they can best be summed up by thinking of it in terms of time, talent, and treasure. Sounds simple, but in these odd and challenging days we have experienced with the pandemic, it is not always so straightforward. However, I've come to know that through these trying times, with our support, the church will exist, function, and adapt to meet the relevant spiritual and physical needs of its people. I'd like to leave you with something that I ran across in the UUA curriculum for stewardship. Stewardship is not just about caring for the present, but investing in the future. We hold what we value, including our UU congregations, ministries, and missions, in trust. As stewards, we work to ensure that what we cherish will be there in the future for the benefit of others. Furthermore, successful stewards not only protect, but help what they value grow. Their actions are empowering, This is true whether we are caretakers of our planet, trustees of our congregation, or stewards of the Unitarian Universalist faith. I look forward to your support of the stewardship in our church and your participation in this year's pledge drive. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing some of your time and attention this morning. Blessed be.
I'd like to invite Lisa to come up and sing for us our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Thank you, everybody. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I love that hymn. That's one of my favorite hymns. And I'm thinking that it's not going to be too much longer before we're all going to be able to sing again. We're keeping our fingers crossed. So at this time, I'd like to invite Carol Hawkins up to illuminate our chalice. Our chalice words today come from Suzelle Lynch. Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of a match or a lighter, we make it new again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered this spiritual community and realized that we were home. We light this chalice for the renewal of our faith. Thank you so much, Carol. And at this time, it is my great pleasure to invite Chris Jarman, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, up to the front for our in-person time for all ages. Chris, it is so good to have you back in the sanctuary. Thank you.
Good morning. I haven't done this in a really long time. And I don't know about some of my friends, but when you haven't done something in a really long time, sometimes you get nervous. You ever feel nervous? Yeah, so I'm a little nervous, so we'll just go with that. And I was just going to say, just because we can't sing don't mean we can't get our groove on, right? All right, so I need a volunteer for the Wonder Box. Do I have any volunteers? Do we remember even how to do this? If you would like to come up and see what's in the Wonder Box, you can raise your hand. Come on up. Come on up. No, this is for all ages. Come on up. Come on up. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Megan. I think we met at the Covenant Circle. So, Megan, we're going to look and see what's in the Wonder Box. And in case we can't remember what the Wonder Box is all about, it is a box of possibilities that when we open it, just like our minds, the possibilities are endless. So we're going to open the box and we're going to see what's in the box today, Megan. What do we have, Megan? You can pull it out. We have bread. What else do we have? A fish and a fish. We have 2 fish. And it looks like we have about 5 loaves of bread. And we can just pull those out, Megan. Oops, it's okay. We'll just lay them on top if you want. Or if you want lunch, we have fish and bread. Thank you so much. You can go back to your seat. I appreciate your help. So I want to share with you the story of the fish and the loaves. And that's why we have fish and loaves. There was a mystical teacher, or there is a teacher that is a mystic called Jesus. And Jesus loved to tell stories. He had a gift for telling stories about God and about the universe through story, through parables. And one time, people loved to follow him. They loved to hear his stories. They wanted to know what he was doing, and there was a rumor that sometimes mystical things or magical things happened when he spoke. So people followed him, and they would listen to him when he spoke. Well, one day, a whole bunch of people came. There was like hundreds. Some people say like 5,000 people came. As Jesus was talking to them, the day got longer and longer, and his disciples, the people who followed him, his like 12 closest friends, said to Jesus, well, you know, it's getting really late and people are really hungry and maybe we should send them home and let them rest and get something to eat. Because I don't know about you guys, have you ever gotten hangry where you're so hungry you get kind of angry and grumpy? Well, that's what the disciples were thinking about. They're like, we don't really want people to get grumpy. And Jesus thought about it and he said, you know, why don't we feed them instead? And the disciples looked at him like he had gone crazy. They're like, what do you mean? And he said, there are like hundreds of people here. Let's go out and let's survey the people and let's see what they have and maybe we'll have enough to feed everyone. And the disciples were like, this will take like a half year's amount of paychecks, of pay, to be able to afford the food to feed all of these people. But they did what their teacher asked, and they went out and they started surveying. And one of the disciples found a young man, really a boy. And the boy said, I have 2 fish that I just caught. And I have 5 loaves of bread that I was taking to my friend's house. And I'm willing to give those and share them with Jesus. So the disciples ended up all going back to their teacher. And they said, Jesus, we found 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And Jesus thought about it. And instead of going, what? That's not enough. He stopped and he said, let's be grateful for what we have. And he stopped and he thanked the little boy. Thank you for your gift. And then he stopped and he thanked the Creator for all the bounty of the world and all the gifts that were given. And then he turned to the disciples and he said, go and feed the people. And a thing happened. What do you think might have happened? Everybody got to eat. And when they were done and everybody was full and they laid back on the grass in the beautiful moonlight, 12 baskets of fish and bread came back up to the top of the mount because there was extra. Wow. Now, some people would call this a miracle. What I wonder is, as people were passing it out, do you remember the story of stone soup? Where none of us really think we have enough, but then we're like, well, if you got 2 fish, I have 1, I can give 1. I don't have enough to feed 5,000, but I have enough to give you for 1. And everybody started sharing what they had. And all of a sudden, they didn't have scarcity, they had abundance. And there was enough. And the thing I love about this story is that Jesus didn't stop and say, that's not enough. He said, thank you. I am grateful. We can do small things with great love. So I wonder, where will you focus your faith at? What will you believe in that you can bring back to your life and your community as we renew our faith and come back together as a congregation? And with this, our story is told. And I need a volunteer to lead the kids out, and I need a kids chalice. Do we have one? We're out of practice. We've got this. Maybe 2 of our friends might like to do it together, because I know it's kind of scary to volunteer. Would anybody like to lead us out? Okay. Come on up, David. Mr. David is not going to lead us out. He's needed in the sanctuary. Thank Thank you. So I'm going to say, as we pass this flame of religious freedom from one generation to the next, oh, we're fine. How you doing, bud? Hey, Jasper. So as we lead the children out, we're going to invite Lisa to sing us out with Go Now in Peace. And what an awesome day to be here together with all of you today.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
It's so great to have these traditions that are embedded in us so deeply, to have them again in our sanctuary. It's very moving to me. That was beautiful, Job. Thank you so much. Today, we're getting our sea legs back in a lot of different ways, I think. And we're going to be passing the plate for the first time since we've been back. Paul Beadle reminds us that once upon a time, most folks used the offering plate to fulfill their pledges or of financial support. Nowadays, a lot of folks click on their church websites and set up automatic transfers from their checking accounts. Some still write a monthly check when they pay all their other bills. But passing the offering plate was never just a practical exercise. It's always been a ritual. Even if your pledge is paid up, it's worthwhile for you to bring even just $1 to drop in the plate as a ritual reminder of that form of love that we call generosity. Let it be a reminder that after meeting our obligations to ourselves and our households and the communities to which we belong and are committed, we must still keep our capacity to give. The practice of giving until it is second nature and first response helps bring forth the realm of love. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. If you prefer to place your gifts in the donation box at the back of the sanctuary, it's still available as well. They're offering giving envelopes in the hymnals and at the donation box, or you may go to the church's website and click on the donate link at the top of the page. So I'm so happy today to have Chuck Smithers and Henry Singh to come here and accept our offering.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Wings set me free, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Greetings. It is good to be with you today. I want to begin by telling you a story about a woman named Audrey. For 20 years, Audrey had been married to her husband and had worked as a full-time homemaker. Sadly, her husband became emotionally abusive towards her and cheated on her. At age 42, she finally found the courage she needed to file for divorce. She had 2 young daughters at the time. In her marriage, her husband had communicated the message that he thought Audrey was worthless. Audrey had been interested in pursuing school and a career, but he had discouraged her from doing so. After divorcing her husband, Audrey had really low self-esteem. When she thought about the future, she was scared and anxious. She didn't know how to move forward. Lynn Twist is the author of the book, The Soul of Money, Reclaiming the Wealth of Our Inner Resources, and she shares Audrey's story in her book. Lynn worked with Audrey after her divorce to help empower her to move forward in her life in a positive way. Lynn started by inviting Audrey to list all the people in her life who loved her and supported her unconditionally. She asked what positive qualities her friends would say that she has. Audrey was smart, creative, generous, and had a good sense of humor. In this way, Audrey began to shift her attention away from what she didn't have and what she couldn't do. She shifted her attention towards her assets and her strengths. She said that she had always had the dream to start a line of children's clothing, but her husband had always discouraged her from pursuing the dream. Audrey obtained a part-time job and began learning about how to start a business. She attended a seminar on women in business where she made connections and found a mentoring relationship. She made samples of her children's clothing and found that people were eager to buy them. Over time, her relationship with money changed for the better. After her divorce, she was really afraid of not having enough money. As her confidence grew, she saw her own worth as a wage earner and someone capable of starting a business. She was a careful steward of the money she had and lived within her means. Audrey shifted from fear that she wouldn't have enough to trusting in her ability to provide for her family. In the book, The Soul of Money, Lynn Twist explains that it is possible to have a sense of freedom, joy, and peace in one's relationship with money. It is possible to see money like water flowing through our lives, nourishing the things around us that we value and want to see flourish in the world. Money is a means to express our most deeply held values. This happens both by donating to causes and organizations that we care about, and by making ethical choices about the products we buy each day. We all have the power to name our values and make decisions about money that reflect those values. Lynn Twist explains that one thing that prevents many people from having a relationship with money that is grounded in ease and freedom is the myth of scarcity. She explains, for me and for many of us, our first waking thought of the day is, I didn't get enough sleep. The next one is, I don't have enough time. Whether true or not, that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think to question or examine it. This mantra of not enough carries the day and becomes a kind of default setting for our thinking about everything, from the cash in our pocket to the people we love, or the value of our own lives. It is not even that we necessarily experience a lack of something, but that scarcity as a chronic sense of inadequacy about life becomes the very place from which we think and act and live in the world, unquote. Living from a sense of scarcity means believing the story that there's not enough for everyone. When it comes to money, the belief of scarcity turns to fear that there won't be enough for me and my loved ones. It leads to clinging tightly to what I have and neglecting to share my resources with others. When Audrey divorced her husband, she felt that sense of scarcity. She was worried there would not be enough for her and her children to get by. And she felt that she was not enough. She had a low sense of her own worth, and she didn't see herself as capable of earning money for her family. Lynn Twist goes into some more detail about two toxic myths of scarcity. The first is the idea that there's not enough. In this framework, I believe that there just aren't enough resources to go around, and therefore, I need to take care of myself and my loved ones. And I can't be generous to anyone outside of that inner circle. This belief leads people with wealth to consolidate their resources and pass them down to the next generation, rather than using them to contribute to the common good. The belief that there is not enough has implications for how society approaches public services. Consider how the idea that there is not enough impacts healthcare and education. If there just aren't enough resources for every person to have access to healthcare, then some people are going to be left out. That's just the way things are. There just aren't enough resources that every child can have a quality education, so I better make sure my child goes to a good school. I am seeing people and parents grapple with these ideas right here in Seattle, where parents at some public schools are able to raise money to hire extra staff and provide more resources for their children, and parents at other schools are unable to do the same. And then we have to figure out what is fair and just in this school system. The second toxic myth of scarcity is the idea that more is better. This is communicated every day in advertising and mainstream media. The singer Madonna proclaims proudly, "We are living in a material world, and I am a material girl." The rapper and actress Cardi B sings, "I don't really want a white horse and a carriage. I'm thinking more white Porsches and carrots." And singer Ariana Grande says, "I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it." Let me pause here to say that just because we disagree with the message of a song, it doesn't mean we can't enjoy listening to the song. And I love dancing along to all of those songs. We receive the message from the dominant culture that more is better and more expensive is better. We need a bigger and better television, more stylish clothing, fancier vacations to distant locations. And underneath these messages is the idea that we are somehow lacking, somehow deficient the way we are now, and we need to accumulate these possessions in order to be whole and complete. But buying more things will never bring about a sense of peace and wholeness. And in fact, if we are always focusing on the next thing we need, we neglect to appreciate and enjoy our lives right now as they are. These myths of scarcity are stories that we tell about the world and our place in it. They are not facts. And the good news is we can change the story we tell and transform our relationship with money for the better. Twist argues that one important part of this process is living our life from a sense of sufficiency. She views sufficiency as the antidote to scarcity. She explains that living from a sense of sufficiency means knowing that there is enough and we are enough. She writes this about sufficiency. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. Sufficiency is an act of generating, distinguishing, making known to ourselves the power and presence of our existing resources and our inner resources. Sufficiency is a context we bring forth from within that reminds us that if we look around us and within ourselves, we will find what we need. There is always enough. Living from an understanding of sufficiency brings greater peace and ease into one's relationship with money. If I believe the story that there are not enough resources to go around, then I will cling to what I have and work to accumulate more and more. But if I trust that there are enough resources in our communities and in our world, I don't need to cling so tightly to what I have. I can trust that there is enough for me and my family, and I can use money to further my highest ideals and commitments. This shift in perspective allows me to take the money that I have and use it to build the common good. It allows me to use money to nourish the seeds of peace and justice that I want to see grow in the world. Sufficiency is the key to shifting towards a relationship with money filled with greater ease, joy, and freedom. In Audrey's case, after her divorce, she believed that she was not enough. Her low sense of self-worth led her to feel that she could not provide for her family. Audrey shifted her attention to the qualities she did have and the steps she could take to better her situation. With this shift in perspective, she trusted in sufficiency, knowing she was enough and that there was a way to move forward. Trusting in sufficiency and letting go of the chase for more also opens us up to the opportunity to live in the moment and to appreciate what we have here and now. When we let go of the chase for more material possessions, we have the opportunity to appreciate experiences with friends and family, time in nature, and time for our spiritual practices and creative pursuits. Rejecting scarcity and trusting in sufficiency opens our hearts to gratitude for the people we love and the beauty of the earth. Practicing gratitude can bring a sense of true and lasting peace rather than the temporary happiness that comes with new material possessions. Lynn Twist also invites each one of us to look at our bank statements and credit card statements and consider if we are living out our stated highest values in the way that we are spending our money. When I did this, I came to some interesting realizations. There are some ways I spend money that I feel proud of, that I feel do reflect my highest values. I shop at local businesses, I pledge to this UU congregation, and I donate to causes that I care about. But I'm also a member of Amazon Prime, which means I have access to the convenience of free 2-day shipping. And admittedly, I take advantage of this 2-day shipping more than I want to. I know that it's not good for workers, and it's not good for the environment. I tend to not think about that when I'm using it because it feels like I really need to have something right now. But reflecting on money has helped me see where I can make some changes to better live out my values in the world through my use of money. This community of Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church is a place where we can support one another in rejecting the myth of scarcity and embracing the possibility of sufficiency. It is a place where we can reject the messages of the dominant culture that there's not enough to go around and that more is always better. We can embrace the idea that there are enough resources and it is possible for everyone in the community to thrive. We can work towards a vision of a fair and just distribution of resources in our community. One of the ways you can use money to nourish the causes and organizations that are important to you is by making a pledge to BBUUC. Making a pledge is a sacred opportunity to support the values of love, justice, and peace that you wish to see flourishing in the world. Making a pledge is a revolutionary act of hope that this community can grow and thrive, supporting spiritual growth and sharing our message of inclusivity and welcome. Making a pledge is a commitment to Unitarian Universalism, to inclusive, caring communities where we support each other's spiritual growth and work to make the world a better place. Pledging to BBUUC makes possible all the wonderful programs of this congregation. It allows us to teach our whole lives sexuality education for all ages. It allows for worship each month that nourishes minds, hearts, and spirits. It makes possible the connections of love and trust that sustain each one of us in the ups and downs of our lives. When you pledge to this congregation, you make possible all of the good that this organization is able to do. The mindset of scarcity keeps many from having a sense of ease and peace in their relationship with money. The toxic myths of scarcity tell us there is not enough to go around, that we have to look out for ourselves, and that more is always better. Religious communities are places where we can reject those harmful beliefs and tell another story. We can tell a story of sufficiency, where we have enough. There are enough resources for everyone to thrive, and money can be a tool to help make the world a better place. Money can be used to express our most deeply held values. Money can be used to support the organizations and causes that we want to see thrive in the world. Pledging to this congregation is a sacred act of generosity that allows love, care, and justice to thrive in Jacksonville and beyond. May you know that you are enough and that together we are enough. May you live your life with the knowledge of sufficiency, and may that knowledge bring you peace. Let us join our energies together to sustain this community as we support one another in our journeys and help to make the world a better place. May it be so. Amen.
At this time, I'd like to have Lisa come up and sing Blue Boat Home, our closing hymn, accompanied by Dr. Gary Smart. Thank you so much.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, aiming over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the rights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great wind surging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the song that I sing to, and the earth is my blue boat home. Blue boat home.
I'd like to invite Carol Hawkins back up to the front as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. Our closing words this morning were written by John C. Morgan. In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we've given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we live. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love. May it be so. Amen.